Today we're playing the Brazilian Grand Prix, but it's 10 years ago on F1 2012. What a great game this was, and 10 years ago, what an insane season finale it was, of course, because we used to end the season at Sao Paulo. I kind of wish they still did, because it's such a great place to come to for a final race. You know, you have everything. The racetrack itself invites good racing. We saw that yesterday with the F1 Sprint this year, but also with the nature of the location of the circuit, weather systems always come into play. There's always maybe the chance of rain. And 10 years ago, there was a rather dramatic season finale decider between Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso, where rain did come into play, and it capped off what was an enthrallingly entertaining season. So today, as we have the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix, I thought it'd be nice to take a trip down memory lane and go back a full 10 years and play this Brazilian Grand Prix on F1 2012. It's always a lot of fun coming back to old F1 games. One thing I'm surprised by, though, is 10 years on, how have I still got new things to look at in the career and proving there's nothing new going on here? It's about 10 years too late for that. I'm actually curious, what have I got going on? Oh, Champions mode I've got new. I guess on this profile, I never played it. This was a very awesome season, and I'm sure fond memories for a lot of us as Formula 1 fans. You know, great solid grid, Vettel and Webber at Red Bull, Hamilton and JB in their final year together at McLaren, Fernando Alonso, Felipe Massa, Mercedes, Rosberg and Michael Schumacher, Raikkonen and Grosjean in the Lotus, Force India, Paul di Resta, the pundit now, and Nico Hulkenberg. Remember, in 2012, he actually led this race at some point in the Brazilian Grand Prix before he crashed out with Lewis Hamilton, Kobayashi, and very fetus-looking Sergio Perez back here in 2012. Toro Rosso with Ricciardo and Verne, Williams, Maldonado and Bruno Senna, Caterham, Kovalainen and Petrov, HRT, De La Rosa, Cartagena, and then Marussia with Timo Glock and Charles Peake. I think after so many years, you kind of think back to these games when we played them and maybe have a certain vision of what the game looked like. I think this game actually holds up pretty well. To say it's 10 years old, I think it holds up very, very well. Certainly the cars, I think, the car models, I think, are actually very decent for the year they are. Compared to now, I mean, I think very, very solid. Engine sounds maybe not as much there. Massive revving in 7th gear as we try and get into turn 1. Sao Paulo looking very, very different though, actually. Cars may hold up. The track's not so much. I mean, look how flat this right-hander is. Like, that's nothing in comparison to what we have now on F1 22. So they definitely improved it in that aspect of things. You've got the KERS on the bottom right. No, not ERS quite yet. KERS abusing the KERS was the phrasing back in the day. And then opening DRS wherever we please in practice. I did a similar trip down memory lane for the Japanese Grand Prix because there was some similarities about how Verstappen could clinch his second world championship in a Red Bull at Suzuka in the same way Sebastian Vettel did in 2011. I drove as Vettel in that video. But for this one, I think let's go across to his rival of that year in the Ferrari, Fernando Alonso. Let's try and rewrite a bit of history here and try and see if we can beat Sebastian Vettel in a Brazilian Grand Prix in this one. Overcast conditions, since it was pretty well more than overcast 10 years ago. There's actual rain on the way, but we've got McLaren 1-2 there with Hamilton Button, just as it was, but Vettel up there in 3rd place. We're going to start from the back of the grid, 24th place, because there were so many more drivers and teams on this grid. I just thought as well, actually, just like today for the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix, 2 Brits on the front row in chrome F1 cars. McLaren, Mercedes 10 years ago. It was silver arrows this year. As we go now to 5 red lights to the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's see what kind of start can we get. Pretty good getting past the 2 Marussias. Into turn 1 though. Do I dare send it to the inside? We shall. Oh! Hey, Duresta! This is why you're doing punditry now, mate. What was that? Look, we've used time travel to go back 10 years. I'm sure we can use time travel to go back to the start of that race. I like how there was a car facing backwards then at turn 1. I mean, it wasn't quite, you know, later on at the end of sector 1 with a Red Bull facing the wrong way, but there was a car facing the wrong way. So at least the game's kind of trying to live up to what we had in real life. Right, that was a bit of a better start for us through the center S's up to P20 now, is it? It's actually quite close stuff here. The AI actually pretty robust in their defense and definitely moving erratically. I'm sensing already in the brake zone. My God. More chaos. Vern's got no front wing. Try and sling one down the inside of Duresta if we can. Got Kovalainen already. Easy does it. Oh, Paul's giving us a bit of a fight here. Now Senna, Hulkenberg, P13. Why aren't you up in P1, mate? Come on. It's weird seeing the Force India again, though, to be fair. That team's been through a lot. Force India, Racing Point, Aston Martin now as we make a 3 wide and round the outside of both Kobayashi and Hulkenberg. The Kers gets reset and we can go again. We did quite well there. I think I used my Kers quite strategically and just about finished it at the right time as we crossed the line. Right, Maldonado, one of the GOATs, a race winner in this season, if you remember, and actually held up Alonso pretty well in that Spanish Grand Prix to take the victory. But we got him on the outside, purple first sector. That's what we like to see. Now on to Rosberg, pre-salty Hamilton era. Can we darts our way around the outside? No, not quite, but going to go for that dive bomb down the inside. Don't do a Hamilton. Don't nick his rear tyre and spin him out. And then we get on to Checo. Oh, that's close. We're cutting these overtakes real fine, actually. We're having some fun out here. So far, so good. Fastest lap again. Going well in this Ferrari. It was a weird one in 2012 because it was an ugly Ferrari. Let's not get that crossed up as we're now looking to get Grosjean as we swing left. DRS open for the first time. Man, that rear wing looks comically tiny from this angle. That FOV makes it look tiny. I was going to say, yeah, this Ferrari, obviously ugly one with the step nose, but very weird. I felt like it started the season in 2012. It was really poor. It was like a dog, or it looked like a bit of a dog in terms of the handling, like Alonso wrestling it. But I feel like there was this rhetoric that the whole season that it was a dog. But by the end of the season, I think the Ferrari actually ended up being quite a good car in 2012, especially in the hands of Alonso. Like, he just got to grips with it and, you know, did so well, remember, in so many wet conditions in qualifying and in the races as well. It was quite a handy car for him in the wet. And by the end of it in 2012, I think the media was still trying to portray it as a very slow car. And that Vettel started a mighty Red Bull. But I think the Red Bull and Ferrari ended up, I think pretty equally matched by the end of it. It was quite a messy race in 2012 for both Ferrari and Red Bull as drivers as we passed Michael Schumacher very casually there and got past Massa. Obviously, Massa, very much the second fiddle, did so many things in 2012 to help Alonso out. Most famously, I remember, I always go back to that USA Grand Prix where on the grid they broke his gearbox seal on purpose to give him the clean side of the grid. And even in this race, he did some fair share of blocking and fighting Webber quite hard with that 3 wide pass where Alonso went down the inside and Massa was on purpose blocking Webber to the outside. But then even Webber had his own agenda. It was a very interesting year for Formula 1 as I hit the man I'm talking about, because Webber had that thing where he had a bit of a you know, spitefulness to Sebastian. I think, didn't he got radioed in to let him by, and they did it with like a clever message, and he was like, what button's that, and then his engineer just got fed up like, look mate, just let Vettel by, alright, just let him pass. As we send one through up to P6. There is the man we need to attack. Well, here we are on the last lap. It's actually flown by 5 laps. DRS on Sebastian. Is he going to go? He is going to go defensive. Here it is. This is the battle we wanted. Side by side, round the outside of Vettel. Just about slow down the car. I've used all my Kers up, though, so I don't know if I'll actually be able to catch Jensen up the road. And I think is it Kimi in P2? Turning back the years in the Lotus Renault. Hamilton's absolutely nowhere. Look at the mini. He's walked away with this. We're not going to get the podium. And Vettel may just come back at me, you know. Oh! Oh, it was a close finish. Close, but we got the B4 position, casual 20 position game. It was close though, very close at the end. But that was this Brazilian Grand Prix 10 years ago. Hamilton ahead of Raikkonen and JB, a double Brit podium. Hamilton winning this Brazilian Grand Prix in a chrome F1 car. As I'm recording this has been recorded before the 2022 Grand Prix. So let me know down in the comments below, has there been any bookie wizardry going on? Did Lewis manage to win the Mercedes? And have I just randomly predicted this ahead of time of the Grand Prix? Because as I record this, it's about 2 p.m. before the Grand Prix UK time. So we'll see. But it's always a nice trip down memory lane, especially when it's like 10 years. It's so long ago. And I think this game holds up very much so. I mean, I have the fondest memories of this game because this was actually the first game I ever really properly started making F1 YouTube videos on. So always nice to come back to it. But guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.